Welcome to It's a Jungle Out There. The story behind our story. Welcome to the story of It's a Jungle Out There. This story was designed by a large group of creatively enthusiastic children who attend the Valley Project in a place called Homewood in Bradford. They called themselves the Artificial Group. With the support of the United Art Project, over 60 children have been encouraged to use their own ideas to solve character problems, to imagine the imaginable, and to design a wonderfully unique story for their family, friends, and other children to enjoy. All the themes, characters, and storylines in this book have come from the children's imagination, and you can really appreciate their individual flair for storytelling. It's energetic and bombastic and includes several character battles between characters, which is why we include a 7+ age suggestion to reading. The group also worked together to make the images and scenes in the different chapters, and you will find their illustrations filling the back of the book as well as throughout the story. It's a one-of-a-kind adventure, and we hope it inspires any young readers to start writing. We hope you enjoy the read.
How it all began. It was all fine until one small mistake changed the lives of the Valley Project children who were known as the Artificial Group. The Artificial Group was known for doing extra learning, extra exercise, and extra thinking. Their mission on the estate is to help people be safe, leave people alone, and not walk away from problems. They go to the park, they sleep, they go swimming, and they love to dance around in their bedrooms and scream. One day, the Artificial Group was at the valley when the local snakes from across the road slithered across the bumpy road and told the kids that if they didn't run away, they would turn them into animals because they killed their snake king. But the Valley Project kids didn't run away. Instead, they shouted,
"Turn us into dirty animals, we don't care!"
The horrible, ugly, slimy snakes said,
"We will chase you round the valley until you fall on pebbles,
like crumbled biscuits, and become the world's worst animals."
The kids sprinted around, dodging the snakes, but they fell over a tree. The malevolent snakes' eyes grew yellow and their claws grew sharper and sharper every second. Kapow! Kapoosh! The humans, with immense pain, turned into animals. The humans floated up and magical dust from one of the snakes was sprinkled onto them. Some grew gills and their ears got tinier every second. Their faces swelled up into scales and their arms and legs started disappearing. They started shivering. But not only that, they had been flung, like a shooting star, across Bradford, separated and on their own. They had to find their own way home.
Chapter 1. Isabel. Esmel. Isabel was one of the younger Valley Group members. She had blonde, pigtailed hair and usually had a big smile on her face. The magic dust that the snakes had sprinkled onto her head when they banished the group had plummeted her right into Pudsey swimming baths, right in the deep end. As she resurfaced from the plunge, the humans were shocked and scared. They took one look at her and screamed,
"It's a monster! Ah!"
She had been turned into Esmel, a mutant animal. Her arms had become gorilla arms. Her mouth had become a shark's mouth. She had grown fish eyes, chicken legs, and a fox's tail. The sad thing was, she had forgotten who she originally was. She didn't even know her name was originally Isabel. With her big gorilla arms and chicken legs, Esmel found it hard to swim. It felt like 2 days before she managed to climb out of the pool. Esmel, dripping wet, pulled herself out of the pool and out of the swimming baths. She ran to the local farm shop and asked the man behind the counter,
Are there any animals in here?
The man screamed. He ran out of the emergency door and called Animal Pest Control to capture Esmel. Animal Control arrived in a jiffy on a blue and white quad and took a hold of her large gorilla arms and put her into the back of a net. They arrived at the secret scientist's lab, which was underground. The main scientist was shocked and petrified to see such a creature. He took Esmel and did 2 tests on her to make sure she had no germs and to work out what sort of animal she was. The results read,
You are too wriggly and scared to process what sort of animal you are.
However, sitting in a little cage on the table was a fish, a fox, and a gorilla that had also been captured, and they could understand what Esmel was saying perfectly. The reason why they could understand her was because they shared the same DNA. Esmel can directly talk to animals that make up the parts of her. She had a fox tail, monkey nose, and fish eyes. The animals said, We will help you to tell the scientists that you want to go home. The fish, fox, and gorilla had been given human-speaking injections, and so they told the scientists everything Esmel had said about the snakes and getting back to the valley. The scientist agreed to let Esmel free by dropping her off in the wild and working out her own puzzle to get home. The wild wasn't too far from the valley. She was really close to home.
Chapter 2. Barry Barrex. Meanwhile, in the Broadway Centre, Wachoosh! Barry, another valley kid with brown hair and long legs, had landed with a bang in the centre of the JD Sports Shop. He had been mutated into the animal Barrex, but he didn't know this. Scared and frightened, Barrex couldn't find the exit to get out. The place was too hectic, and he felt overwhelmed and embarrassed. The shoulders of the shoppers were touching each other, and he felt so claustrophobic. It was just too much for him. He looked down and began to panic. The mirror in the shop had cracked as he looked at his reflection. The snakes had turned Barry into Barrex, a kangaroo rat, or shall we say, a kangarat. He had long blue and black stripes on his body, coupled with white and black stripes on his head. He had the tail of a rat and the pouch of a kangaroo. His kangaroo legs meant that he could jump higher than the stars. He was the rarest animal in the universe. Barrex, with his big, fluffy shoulders, barged through the shoppers and scared them away. Move! I need to get back to the Valley Project. It's important. I need to get back to being a human. And to Laura, Steve, Martha, Billy, Aaron, Megan, Belinda, Alfie, Abby and Lauren. They're the only people who can save me. Barrex jumped and bounced his way outside of the Broadway Centre. He saw a person in a car driving past and he really wished he were back to being a human. He realised he was all alone. He began to cry, holding his rat head in his kangaroo paws. He felt so sad. But something was listening to his cries. A ghostly duck waddled beside him and whispered,
Don't worry, I will get you home. Follow me and I'll give you a quick way home.
The ghost duck took his wing and flung it out and pointed up Wakefield Road. Barrex bounced and the ghostly duck waddled up the steep road. finding lots of sausage trees on their way to eat for sustenance and to fuel their way home to the Valley Project.
Chapter 3. Bonnie Bun. Over in Byerley, Bamalam! Bonnie, an older Valley Project girl with long brown hair and blue eyes, was lifted high and thrown outside of the Byerley church.
Oh my gosh.
She screamed. It felt like she had been electrocuted. Something strange had happened, and Bonnie soon realised that she sounded a little wonky. So she tried talking again. Hi! She had turned into a horse called Bun. And not just any horse. The fastest horse in the world, as she had become a full-bred trotter. She was a black and white mare with a white spot in the middle of her head and a white spot under her tummy and 2 white fluffy feet. She felt very soft because she was made of dough. Yes, dough like flour and water. As she trotted on the roadside, bits of flour flashed onto the car windscreens. Flick, flick. Bun felt so hungry after the snakes had banished her. So hungry that she could eat a horse. Ha ha ha! No, she literally tried to eat herself, but it didn't work. She decided to trot to Asda to see if she could buy some carrots. As Bun started walking off, looking left and right, she realised that she had never heard so much traffic before. And she stuck to the ground a little because it was too sticky and doughy on her hooves.
Don't run straight away. You might get run over. Wait for the red light so the car will stop,
she said to herself, waiting patiently, but hungry. Lo and behold! As Bun trotted across to Asda, Moo Moo was there, Human Body's best mate. And she had 2 full bags of carrots that she bought for her Sunday dinner. Bun let out a big She did this to warn Moo Moo that she will get taken out if she doesn't drop the carrots. She got onto her back legs and reared into the air. But Moo Moo didn't drop the carrots. Moo Moo already owned a horse, and so she wasn't scared. She put the carrots gently on the floor and encouraged Bun to come close so she could stroke her. Moo Moo said,
It's okay, stay calm. You're with me now.
Bun said, while neighing, that she was really a human and needed to get back to the valley in Homewood. Moo Moo lived in Homewood too, and she had dreamed the night before that a horse was going to approach her. And so she brought a rope in her bag while she went shopping. She took it out, tied it around Bun, and jumped on her back. They rode back to the valley together.
Chapter 4. The Valley Project. Meanwhile, back at the Valley Project, all the problems were happening. The snakes had taken full control of the main gates, slithering and winding their bodies around the gates and the fences so that no mutant animals could re-enter, and all the staff were held up inside. The snakes knew that if the animals managed to get back into the Valley Project grounds, they would turn back into humans again, and they could not let this happen. Suddenly, all the mutant animals arrived at the valley gates and saw what the snakes were up to. 2 of the mutant animals, Kraus and Midger Mouse, went to team up and grip the big snake boss by the neck. But the snake wrapped itself around their tiny arms and they lost circulation. The snake boss had stopped the animals from chucking it. The mutant animals tried everything, hypnotising the snakes with a dartboard, offering to buy the snakes clothes, and a takeaway from Hotspot. They even tried speaking the snake language and pleading with them. They threatened to banish them to the sewers and snap their jaws. Even Bun tried to stretch out her dough body and pull them in. Barex tried to kangaroo kick them apart, and Esmel tried to use her gorilla arms to tickle them away from the gates. But it seemed impossible to move them. Until one of the mutant psychedelic animal insects came forward and asked the snakes why they were so hurt. She asked,
Who has hurt you in your past?
The snakes responded,
The humans!
One day last week, some of the valley kids weren't paying attention to the ground and stepped on the Snake King, accidentally killing him. The snake followers felt threatened, worried and alone. They never wanted this to happen again. The mutant animals remembered this accident happening when they were humans and felt bad. They offered the snakes an appetizing peace offering, a big bar of dairy milk. Out of sheer happiness, the snakes agreed to release the gate straight away. The mutant animals entered back into the valley grounds, and the magic snake used its powerful wand to change the animals back to humans. The valley kids were happy to be back to normal. The staff were overjoyed and threw a special party with the snakes invited as a big thank you. The end. Oh, plot twist! Get in, we like plot twists. Plot twist. Little did they all know that lurking in the shadows of the trees, the Snake King was spying with hatred in his eyes.
Traitors!
He exclaimed.
Revenge will be mine!
Dun, dun, dun!
The end. This story would not have been brought into reality if it weren't for the minds and imaginations of the collective.